Well, the largest study into medical intervention for young people who identify as transgender ever conducted, the CAS review, has now released its final report. Its findings and recommendations raise a number of significant concerns for the treatment of gender-confused young people here in South Australia. Now, among other things, this review found that there was no good evidence to support the practice of prescribing hormones to under 18s, that the long-term impacts of such treatments are unknown, and that for most young people, a medical pathway is not the best way to manage their gender distress. Now, the take-home message from the CAS review is the affirmative approach to treatment of gender dysphoria has now been comprehensively exposed and debunked. Now, SA Health has information that tells us that more than 2,000 young people in South Australia are currently being subjected to experimental and dangerous medical treatment in the form of affirmation, puberty blockers, and cross-sex hormones. This is a scandal of the highest order. Now, the South Australian Government must immediately pause the practice of gender affirmation and medicalisation, which has now been shown to be a cruel experiment conducted on thousands of vulnerable South Australian children. The health and safety of vulnerable young people must be the highest priority of our health officials. Now, as the Honourable Frank Pengello has called for, there must be a full and transparent inquiry into the number of young people potentially affected. These people must be supported with quality and evidence-based healthcare. Chris Picton, the Health Minister, can no longer stay silent. He must immediately advise what measures he's put in place to prevent the vulnerable young people being exposed to risky and unproven medical treatment, and the extent of which these practices will now expose the South Australian taxpayers to crippling damages claims in future years.